Hey YouTube, Gordon Miller here. Okay, I got a request about which is better, or to discuss the differences between the BMW M cars and the Mercedes AMGs. So, having had 57 cars in the last, or 54 cars in the last 27 years, I've had an opportunity to have a number of each of them. I've got my list here on the iPad of all the various cars. I'm going to go ahead and go through the list and talk about the BMW M cars versus the AMGs, since I've had a number of them. So let's see. My very first BMW was a 1977 BMW 530i. Back then, they didn't do an M series, but the 530i had the 3.0 liter engine from the 3.0 CS Coupe that they raced with. And in fact, in the sedan series, BMW would race with the 530i's. And it used to have an overheating problem, but you could actually replace the standard radiator with the racing radiator, and it was awesome. So it kept the car nice and cool, ran great, amazing car, very fast for a sedan. It was something. So let's see. The next car I had was, next BMW was a 1995 BMW 325i convertible. And that was back when BMW didn't make an M convertible. The first M convertible was 1998 and 1999. I've had one of those as well. We'll get to that on the list in a minute. But I was in a car accident in that car. Tire blew out, car spun around, hit a granite wall in the mountains, and destroyed the car. It didn't total it, but it came pretty darn close. And so when we went to go rebuild it, because it was a brand new car, I had paid $36,000 at the time for the car, and I think the check from the insurance company was like $16,000 or $18,000. So what we did was we put all the parts from a standard M car, either M car standard or better, from the BMW M3 Coupe, back onto the car. So all the suspension components were rebuilt. The entire suspension and everything came straight off the M cars. Everything else was all M standard. The suspension setup, the suspension components, and everything. A number of the other engine components, we didn't replace, obviously, the engine with that, because the engine wasn't damaged itself, but we re-chipped it, and with the Dynon chip, and it made a huge improvement. It brought the car almost up to the total performance that they were seeing at the time from the BMW M cars. So that was a great car. And the next one that I had was, I bought a 1989 BMW 750iL. So the 750iL was an amazing car, and they didn't make an M edition of the 7 Series back then. Of course, this car had a 400 horsepower V12 engine, like the same engine that was in the 850 CSIs. So the car was amazing. It had unbelievable capability, and that particular version, I actually own 2 of those, and I love it. It was a great car for its time, way ahead of its time. I mean, the car was $100,000 back in 1989. That's the equivalent of $200,000 today. And I bought another one back in 2014, and I think I paid $11,000 for the car in California and shipped it back. And it was museum quality, low miles. It was amazing, and I kept it for a while, and it was great. It needed nothing. I put a stainless steel sport exhaust and chip and everything else in it. Car was unbelievable, but it just didn't have the same kind of refinement that some of the current cars have. So that's why I continue to stay with the current cars as we go through that. Let's see. So what was next? After the 750iL, I had a 4.0 liter 740IS, and that was not really a great car. I didn't really like the standard 7 Series very much, and so that's when I decided, well, I'm going to go ahead and move to the M cars, which had finally kind of come into their own. So the first M car I had that was a 2002 BMW M3 convertible. And those cars, especially the early February edition ones, I ordered mine in September, October of 2001. And the problem that I had was I had the European wheel set up and all the other options you couldn't get in the United States. But it was an early February build, and those engines had detonation problems. In fact, most of the cars had to have their engines replaced. So not a very reliable car. I never had any problem with it. I sold it before any problem developed, but it was a great car. It was about 300 and some horsepower, 333 if I remember correctly. And so that was a great car. Enjoyed it, and never had any problems with it. Let's see. The next car on down the list was, I liked the 2002 M3 so much that I traded my Mitsubishi Evolution that I bought and didn't really like. I traded it in on a BMW M3 coupe. So ironically, in 2003, I owned a late build 2002 coupe and a early build 2002 convertible. So I actually owned a coupe and convertible at the same time, and I loved it. I traveled long distances in the coupe because I was driving about 50,000 miles a year, and I enjoyed the convertible on the weekends, and it was great. I loved it. So, all right, let's see what else. That gets us up to around the year 2003, 2004, and around 2004, I bought a 2002 Mercedes C32 AMG. Now that was the V6 supercharged engine, and oh my God, was it amazing. That was my first AMG car, and I love that car. It had the European spec suspension, which is super rare. It was rest of the world suspension setup, and they only offered it on a handful of factory cars. I wish I had kept that car. The car was amazing. Small but roomy inside, and powerful as all get out. That 3.2 liter engine with the supercharger, unbelievable. In fact, the AMG cars that I like the most are the supercharged cars, not the turbocharged cars. I don't think the AMG turbos hold up as well as the supercharged ones did. So it was an amazing car. Let's see, so about 2005, 2006, somewhere in there, I bought a 1999 BMW M3 convertible. And so that was going back in a generation. I paid $15,000 in cash for the car, and it was also amazing. It was only 285 or 245 horsepower, 285, I believe. But it was an amazing car. Great to drive with the top down, 5-speed, I believe, maybe it was a 6-speed. But the transmission was perfect, shifted great. On a car that you pay cash for, these days they're harder to find in good condition that haven't been wrecked or abused. But it was an amazing car. I loved it. And I think it's probably one of the most underrated M cars because it's not very powerful, but it was the last of the really light, not very complex cars. It was the same chassis platform and everything as my original 95 325i that I had upgraded to M status. And I just love that platform. It just is an amazing car. Let's see. What did I have after that? So it looks like my next one was in 2008. I bought a BMW M3 sedan, and that was the first year of the V8. So it was a 6-speed with a V8, 414 horsepower. Unbelievable. The car was incredible. And it's one of those things that I didn't realize at the time that it was going to be the last of those normally aspirated V8 engines. If you can find a 6-speed 2008 BMW M3, if you don't mind it being 4 doors, I think almost all of them are 4 doors, then by all means buy one. There are coupes out there, but make sure you get one of the 6-speeds. They're unbelievable. I understand they're going for about $35,000 now. I paid $68,000 at the time, so it was, it's held its value reasonably well. But for a 10-year-old car with those kind of performance capabilities, 414 horsepower from a normally aspirated V8 is unbelievable. So let's see. All right, so going on down the line, after the V8, I bought a 2006 BMW M Roadster. And the M Roadster, I drove all the way, I flew to Chicago, bought the car, and didn't even test drive it. It just was like, it's the same 333 horsepower engine that was in the 2002 BMW M3s that I had, and I love the engine. I love the smaller package. Car was ridiculously responsive in handling. I loved it, and so I was really impressed with that car. As an M car, it's better than the Z3s. It's better than anything else. But the Z4 M Roadster is unbelievable. I recommend it. Let's see. Oh yeah, so in there, I also bought a Mercedes GL 550. Now, at the time I bought the first GL, there wasn't a GL 63 AMG, and I wrote a letter to Mercedes saying, I got kids, they got friends, we got stuff, why the hell don't you make a GL in an AMG edition? And it took me 2 or 3 years of trying to convince them, and then finally they came out with one. I guess there was enough demand, not just me, but from other people, and so it was kind of nice to see them do that. And I haven't bought one since, but that's because I had problems with other GLs. I've actually owned 2 of the GL 550s, and the last one I owned was we'll get to it in a minute, but the last one I owned was a twin turbo V8, and the engine just came apart. I mean, they had to replace the engine and both turbos at 27,000 miles, so that was terrible. But let's see where we're up to now. Bentley, Nissan GTR, Alfa Romeo Spider Veloce. So 2009 Mercedes SL63 AMG. Now this car is amazing. So the dealership called me when it was brand new, and I bought this one in 2012 or 13. I don't remember which. I think it's 12. And the 2009 SL63 was just an incredible car. It sounds like a frickin' NASCAR running around the thing. I was doing work up in DC, and I would actually go out at 2 a.m. and drop it into second gear going through the tunnels just to hear the thing just scream with the top down. And what an amazing car. I mean, it was just the sound and the handling and everything. I think it was just, for me, it was kind of the pinnacle of what AMG is all about, and I really enjoyed that car. Let's see where we got here. Then Bentley GTC, Range Rover Supercharged, Porsche 944. So then there comes the other 750 IL that I had, that I bought, that was, low miles, great condition. Another Range Rover, Porsche Carrera, Maserati Quattroporte, Nissan 370 Nismo. So then there's the 2015 BMW M4. The BMW M4, 414 horsepower, unbelievable car. I think it's slated at 4 something. Mine shows up at 485 when you hook the internal plug-in. It has an M dashboard you can use, and so it will tell you what the horsepower is. And so it looks like when it's unlocked, it's 485 horsepower. At least mine is. Let's see. So the Mercedes SL65 AMG, it was a 2005. So having had a 2005 SL65 and the 2009 SL63, I actually like the SL63 better. The SL65 was 607 horsepower, 604 horsepower. Unbelievable car, but just way too big, way too heavy. Didn't handle worth anything. But a great car. the other Mercedes GL550, which I hate, and then my BMW X5M, which is, you know, what I'm driving now. I'm out of town on business, so I stopped long enough to do this video, and so that's you know, that's a rundown of most of the cars. You know, I overlooked stuff in the beginning, like you know, my Datsun 240Z, what is it? My Mazda Miata Sport, the Acura NSXs. I had a pair of those. Porsche 911s, Carrera C4S. You know, a bunch of 911s and Porsches along the way in the early years. You know, 2002 Porsche 911 twin turbo, things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I think on the whole, I think I prefer the BMW M cars to the AMGs. I really do. Somebody asked me in one of the posts, what's my favorite car? It usually is whichever one I'm driving at the time, because the progression of cars gets better, and I tend to think that that BMW makes a pretty good product, and they continue to refine it. For me, the 2017 BMW X5M that I have right now is the best car I've ever had as an M car, and I really enjoy it. I really do. It's 567 horsepower, exact amount of horsepower as my Bentley GTC was. It's actually lighter, I think, than the GTC, so it's actually faster too. You know, 0 to 60 is 3.8 seconds, same as the BMW M4. So I've been really pretty happy with it. I can't complain. I think overall, if I had to pick a one of the AMG cars, the 09 SL63 AMG was by far my favorite. It does the supercharged cars from those days much better than the new turbocharged cars. And I'm not a fan of the turbos. The original 03 or 03 to 05 supercharged SL65 AMGs I actually like better than the SL63. I never bought one, but I think as I go back and pick up some other stuff, if I'm looking to pick up an AMG car these days, I would get like an 05 SL55 AMG. And in the C class, I would look for the normally aspirated C55s that were the 5.5 liter normally aspirated V8s, no supercharger. Oh my God, they were amazing. And that's just like the 08 BMW M3 that's also a normally aspirated V8. And those are going to be that's really kind of my favorite. So they're really kind of a toss-up, but I happen to like the BMW M cars better. I've had reliability problems with the Mercedes stuff. I've always said I would never own a Mercedes AMG out of warranty, because it just is a nightmare to own out of warranty. It gets expensive pretty fast. You know, my SL65, when I sold it, needed, what was it, like $4,000 aside worth of suspension work. So I guess, no, it was $2,000 or $3,000 aside. So it was like $8,000 or something like that, all the way around, $8,000 to $10,000 in suspension work to be redone because of the pneumatic suspension piece. It's like, you know, the car is barely worth, you know, 40 grand. You know, putting a $10,000 suspension on a car worth 40 grand doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, that's just crazy. So that's my comparison between BMW M cars and Mercedes AMG cars. For me, it doesn't get any better than the 2008 BMW M3 6-speed, or if you're a Mercedes fan, the C55 AMG Mercedes, also a normally aspirated V8. That's a head-to-head comparison. You know, it's a great car to slot into. Prices are really pretty reasonable these days. And then on the other side, in terms of you know, my favorite cars, I think the SL63 AMG is right up there, but that's only because I haven't owned an SL55 AMG, which I've driven, and I actually like that better, and it's cheaper too. So, you know, you save yourself a bunch of money. And on the BMW M side, at the high end, in terms of more more recent cars, the BMW X5M gets my vote. I mean, I can drive whatever I want. I don't need all the space. I could drive one of the sedans, or I could drive, you know, another car. But I really like the X5M. It has the convenience and all the comfort. Quality level is amazing, you know, but it's $111,000. So it's not exactly an accessible car for most people. And at the end of the day, that's a factor as well. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for the ideas. It's great that you guys would give me the ideas like that. Please keep them coming, and I'll be glad to, you know, do another video on those. But I want to get this posted so everybody could begin to, you know, hear more about the various M comparisons with the AMGs. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you again soon.